Everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. I took most of October off just because it became very mentally challenging with a bunch of different things going on, and I was just exhausted. And it was my favorite month, and I wanted to put content out there, but it didn't happen. And I'm still not feeling too great today, but we got some spooky season content that's coming to you in the first week of November, hopefully. So we're just gonna get that out of the way. That way we may enter November with the rest of the way being fresh, new stuff that has not been delayed because I have been meaning to film it. So ignore my dogs if you hear them in the background, first of all. I it's funny how my first video ends up being one that I feel equipped enough to discuss about, but don't know enough of to be like a big, huge fan. And I am only doing this because I watched the movie and because sort of a little tribute for my brother and my sister who adore this. On opening night, we went to go see the Five Nights at Freddy movie. I only know about this through, again, my brother and my sister. They've been playing it, watching it, hearing songs about it for as long as I can remember. Nonetheless, I have learned what I have learned through them and through the few bits of content that I have accidentally found on the internet. Thought it was a pretty good movie, having known only so much. But like I was able to like say, hey, like like this is what's happening. Oh, that's that. I was able to recognize enough, so I felt pretty proud of myself. That was a pat on the back to myself. I know that there's different like theories and storylines and lore depending on what you're looking at, the games or the books. I don't know what came first, but I know the books are a little bit different than the games, and the games are a little bit different than the books. And thus the movie kind of became this mosh posh of both. In an interesting way, but more so from what I've heard through like friends as well, who are fans of it, that it's more so towards the books. But from what I saw, and I could be completely wrong because I only know so much, there were certain things from the games that I noticed that I had heard my brother and sister tell me about. So who knows? I don't know. I'm gonna go based on what I know for certain or what I am speculating. I found it very interesting how they made it a kids movie with there being as much blood and horror concepts and ideas of death as there was, and other concepts that are a lot, I think, for the child mind to process at certain ages, but I think they did a fairly good job at it. And obviously, like, kids are exposed to this game very early. And I have heard people saying that why wasn't it, rated R? Why wasn't it this? Why wasn't it that? And I kind of want to go and touch on the fact that, like, Barbie, I feel, is a very similar concept to this because I expected it to be a kids movie and it was not in any way, shape, or form, and thus my expectations were shattered. But I was able to enjoy it as an adult movie aside once I got past that. So I feel like people went into this movie expecting it to kind of be this rated R kind of thing, and no, it ended up being more of like a kid friendly kind of movie. And I kind of liked that. And I kind of ended up liking how Barbie turned out too. But yeah, it's fascinating how those things work. But I think for what it was, it gave enough for, because there's kids, that watch this stuff for both audiences. I feel it kind of did everything it needed to. I think Barbie was just for the people who were raised playing with like original Barbies, like that was kind of like a nostalgia thing. This was more sort of like universal for all fans, which I think was really nice. Going back to like the lore and all that stuff, so I recognize Vanessa's character right away from the video games because of the newer release and my brother and sister buying like the plushies and the TikToks, and so I was very familiar with like where she came from. And I was like, she's not supposed to be his daughter, right? She's not supposed to be here, right? Like, or she could, but like, why? But they know related. Like, his daughter's supposed to end up being the baby, right? Because my sister's like obsessed with baby, and my brother is just like sitting there, like, and um, so there's that, and I also know that like Abby is supposed to be like somebody else. I don't know if she ends up being like one of the like electronics or like that. I don't know, but I know she's a different person, and they kind of switched her role. I know that the daughter is supposed to be named Elizabeth, and that's who becomes baby. Um, but what I'm thinking now is that Vanessa becomes baby, and like she's stabbed, and like somehow like in the second movie her soul is gonna like go into one of the animatronics, or that have not like had a dead child in them. Like, oh my goodness, like when you say this, and the fact that like this was a kids movie anyway. So I think that's gonna happen, but I think she's gonna wake up. Either that, because I don't think she's gonna die. I think somehow it's gonna be like her essence, her spirit, her soul while she's in this coma thing that's gonna happen something. Obviously we know that Anton, is that how you say it? Afton Shaggy is gonna come back as Springtrap, and obviously he's dead at this point, but they didn't really make it seem like he died. They made it seem like he somehow is still alive in there, and like making things worse, because like the head, like you could see his neck, like the other ones they look more attached. I don't know. This one I thought was more like it was, well, they're all suits, or I think, or this one specifically was like a suit. But yeah, I don't know. And then wouldn't you and Foxy see like the decaying or corpse or skeleton of this child if he's like all messed up and ripped up? I'm just saying, like you're seeing like parts of like the skeletal, like you would see the dead, or did he like, is there bones somewhere at like Five Nights? I don't even know. But so yeah. And then that's what like the little golden Freddy child, which you couldn't honestly even know it was golden Freddy. I don't know what golden Freddy is, what he does. I don't know any of that. I know he's just in the game, books, I think. But like he just kind of showed up like all broken to the house, and we don't know if the aunt was killed, and then like he went in the taxi cab, and I was like, how'd you get to the house? How'd you know it? Okay, like you're invading this guy, her brother's dream, so maybe that's how. And he saw him like moving, so I don't know. And then like I don't know if he still manipulates like the children or the animatronics in some way once he's already dead, because like don't they like still do all the like the scaring and stuff? Either way, like they scare the night guard, that's like what they're supposed to do. So like I don't understand like what becomes of their relationship, if that makes sense. I know there's like more to the story, and like, you know, there's I just don't know that part. There's different, like, obviously, like, they're trying to get out, or they're, like, possessing people, or trying to kill people, and, like, put them in the suits. I know that whole thing, but it's, like, I don't know what now their relationship would be now that they all are stuck in the same place, but they can get out. Like, in the game, it makes it seem like they can't get out. Like, he was in the taxi cab. Like, they can go for a stroll down the road. They could take over the universe if they really, really wanted to. So, I don't know. And then, apparently, like, Shaggy was, like, killing kids before, long before, the whole Five Nights and everything. And apparently, Vanessa knew, what's his name? I'm gonna say Pitas from The Hunger Games, the same actor, knew her brother. So what happened? Is he one of the animatronics? Like, no, I don't think so, because I saw the names of the kids and none of them are the names of his brother. I don't know the names, but I read them, and I did a little bit of research before this. And also, like, none of the kids looked like him. He would have been able to like recognize his brother in the dream, which the fact that he goes through this every single night and he purposely puts himself in that dream, I don't understand. Like, that's some creepy psychological, like, I don't even know. Like, that is does not seem possible. It like seems possible to have the same dream, over and over again, like within, a certain time span, but like I feel like at a certain point you would have different dreams, and then like the fact that like the ghost children enter his dreams, and then like it, they end up wanting the sister, and like he can dream forever about like his lost sibling and everything, and the fact that he was just willing to give that up, like, I mean, we understand, like, he was like at his wits end at that point, but it was just like, wow, do you not love your sister? Do you have no faith in her? But I'm sidetracking. Basically, um I'm guessing that he killed him before, but I don't know. Maybe he's maybe one of the animatronics, or he's like another one, or he's somewhere else. And then I also heard that like the puppet wasn't part of this, and the puppet at the end I think was saying "Come find me." So uh, and I say we because it's me and several other people that I've seen online. I don't want to discredit them. That we were thinking that maybe that's the brother. Who knows? Because he, like, if she has the plane and she met him, that means he kind of was hanging out for a bit before he killed him. So where is he? Like, and it totally makes sense that the brother's like blaming himself, that like, he went to go catch the frisbee and he could have seen like who took his brother and everything. Um, and I feel very sorry for him. And I don't know if that's the name of the guy who's like the actual night guard. But I guess, from what I've seen, maybe. But yeah, anyway, he's very invested in finding, his brother and like blaming himself. But he also, I think, like they say, oh, like there's this one scene where they're like, oh, do you really wish to find his killer or find him, or do you wish to go back? And I'm like, I don't think he wants to go back. Like, I think he wants to like make everything right in some way and change time. I don't think he wants to go back to that exact moment, but that's what he wants. Okay, that's what he wants. All right. And also I don't know if the mom, because he's like, oh, her mom, when he's like explaining it to Vanessa, and I'm like, but it's your mom too. So I don't know if the mom is the same mom for the little girl as it is for him and her brother. So I don't know. Can we also talk about the fact that for like 20 minutes of the movie, I legit was like, what am I watching? I was laughing, I was confused, because it felt so out of place, but then that made it all the more better. When they were building the fort, when they were like dancing, and then they all like sat in a little circle and everything, and I'm like, these things are humongous. Like, is nobody freaking out at the sheer size of these things? Like, and like we saw like how big they were when like Golden Freddy went in the taxi cab. Like, I was just like, these are huge. This little girl is playing with the ghost of dead children trapped in these things. And at this point, I feel like she would know that. And she's like comfortable and okay with that. And this little girl, she's seen stuff. I understand that she's had, trauma and everything. But the fact that she's just so okay with it and it's just like, these are my friends, I'm like, oh my god. Also, like, we like know that there's some kind of connection between not only Abby and the kids, the dead children, but the brother, and the fact that he was kidnapped by the killer of these kids. And so I don't know how long this little girl was being haunted by these things. Like, was it as soon as the brother started working there, like before? Like, what is the deeper connection? Because if she has been drawing pictures of her friends, and we saw that in the beginning, like how long has this been going on? And it's kind of creepy, but like there's this deeper meaning, obviously. And then how long was like this kid, like the brother, being with the killer, like, with Afton. I keep wanting to say Anton. because if Vanessa was like, like she knew him and she had met him, and she got his little toy, and like, like he was probably around for a while, so was he like just like, like having him along for a bit and like then killed him? Like, is he trapped in this place with these other people? That's why I assume he's the puppet, because I'm like, you didn't kill him right away from what I assume. But I think he's also killed other children aside from that. But I don't know, I think the kid is still stuck in there. Yeah, that whole like 20-minute them playing, like I looked at my brother and I was just like, are we watching the right movie? And he was just laughing. I guess they needed that part to kind of make it more of a kids movie, and it kind of worked. So yeah, I saw someone on TikTok say that they were kind of happy that they did that, because these are kids, and like they want to play like naturally and everything. They're just stuck. But then it also raises the question, like, then when does Afton like kind of like brainwash them to say, now you are killers? The whole thing I think is like they want revenge and they turn evil. Editing Amber here. I just wanted to also mention like the whole scene where she was like drawing out to show them like what had happened, because they liked, drawings, and that's what she did. And her brother's like, go and like, show them what really happened. How did she have time to color all this? Like, there was so much going on. She just went and she colored it and then put it up, and I was just like, this took up way too much. No way. Like, come on. Like, the only way that Afton knew Peta's last name was if the brother was like, this is my last name. And this kid, like, was kidnapped. Like, this kid must have been terrifying. He was like, what's your last name? And then, like, he's like, so and so. It's like, what? Like, and then, like, Vanessa, like, doesn't mention not to bring children to the pizzeria. So I'm just like, why did you allow Abby to go like the first day and then tell Peta? Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, she's being manipulated by her father in a lot of ways too, because her father's like sending her there. So I'm just like, you know what? Maybe she was like, this is what my dad wanted, and then she like was like, no, 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 no. Like, obviously we can't do that, like my moral compass. So yeah, I don't know. And then I know a lot of YouTubers like got to be in this movie who are like fans of like the whole franchise and everything. So that was also really cool. The guy that made like the song at the end, which obviously was not for this movie, was like for fan, purposes and like, enjoying it. Like, he must be doing very well after them including that. So like that was cool too. And by the end, there's no aunt, I assume she's dead, to kind of mess around with whatever's, he's staying with his sister, all is well. But like, if the aunt died in the house, like, isn't that a problem in itself? I also wanted to say the fact that this little girl wants to go check up on her friends after they try to kill her, after she knows the story, after she knows what's going on, it's just like mind-boggling to me. So much like psychological things going on in this movie. Like, even in the beginning, like, I support, Peta attacking that dad, because like that was like, there was problems in itself with that kid and his dad. He thought it was, him kidnapping him, but like the dad was yelling at the kid and everything. And then the whole like child custody thing, and like there's just so much. And then yeah, let's see what happens in the second movie. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all soon. Bye.